Hi, once again. I want to talk about this 2020 excess deaths in the U.S. general population by age and sex report that recently came out by the Society of Actuaries. I had talked about the high level results by age and also somewhat by sex. But one of the things I didn't talk about in the last video was how do you trend uh, death rates or number of deaths that you're expecting. Um, so when this was excess mortality, I've been doing it very simple, straightforward, because it's easy for other people to do the same thing I had done. And that was essentially take the number of deaths for the same period of a certain number of prior years and just average them. And then take that as your expected deaths. That, of course, is going to have some distortions in it, especially if you want to get really detailed, because what we really want to do for expected deaths is develop it based on what's our base population and then what's our expected death rate for that period. So I want to show you some of the issues here. One of the issues, of course, is that the population changes age year to year. It has been growing, not only because you have immigration, but also new births and then new deaths. And that's how the population size changes. But of course, everyone who didn't die, who's still here, gets a year older. And so we have that pig in a python. Boomers have been, moving into seniorhood and out. And so their death rates are increasing. So you have a larger population at certain ages, and that's going to boost the death number or expected number of deaths up. But what are you going to do with the rates? So I'm going to show you a couple of the trends that Rick Levitt showed in his research report, because not all death trends are the same. And some of this we've known about for a while. Here is, in the black, is death rate for males aged 25 to 34 going from 2010 to 2019, and these are the actuals. And you can see what happened, and I want you to look at what this range is. It's 1.2 to 2.0, and I believe if this is the same base as we usually do, this is per 1,000, and it doesn't say. So I'm not going to worry about the exact scale. If it's per 1,000, this isn't even 2%, it's 0.2% at the vertical scale, very top. So we start at 1.4, so that's I'm just trying, is that 0.14%? I'll have to look this up. In any case, it was pretty flat, and then you notice all of a sudden 2015, 2016, 2017, it was going up. And that was driven by opioid overdoses, primarily other drug abuse, alcohol abuse, suicide, and some homicide. It's just what it is. It peaked in 2017, came down in 2018, and was about level for 2019. So this is an interesting pattern for the mortality rate trend. And on this graph, we have 4 dashed lines. So what are these 4 dashed lines? Let's do the easiest one first, and that's this dark blue, and I'm doing the arrow along it. It's near 2018 and 2019, but this is the average of 2017, 2018, and 2019. That's all that is. You take the rates and you average them. So that's a reasonable trend for 2020 as your base. Just say, okay, somewhere in there. Not a problem with that. But let's take a look at what the other ones would show, and we'll start with the red. The red is the 3-year trend. And so again, remember, think of like there's a 2020 sitting out here. So my 3-year trend would be 2017, 18, and 19. So, essentially if we do like a kind of linear trend and it's trending downward, so we would expect it to be down lower for 2020. We'll come back to that in a moment. The light blue here is the 5-year trend, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so starting at 2015, and this is where it starts to get hairy, because if you do a trend, You could do a linear trend. Okay, let's just do a linear trend. So we've got these 3 points. If you do a line, it's going to be sloping upwards, and that's why you get that one there. Boom. And then if you do a 7-year trend, so going back to 2013, that really is a line trending upward, and you can see why that would be the highest of those. So, what choice do you make? There's no natural choice. Yeah, opioid abuse really increased here. We had, this age group has had a very low death rate in general, except compared to females aged 25 to 34. This is part of, trying to remember if this is part of the stupid period. No, this is right after the stupid period, but the stupid period may have moved. Talk about the stupid period another time. Well, let's look at a different trend, and this is also interesting. Females age 45 to 54, and it actually had been pretty level in death rates around this 3.2. And so remember, before this was maxing out at 2. Now we're at older females, so it's running from 2.8 to 3.3. And for many years, it just kind of been hanging around 3.2. And then 2017, 2018, 2019, we have this improving trend. So let's take a look at what we get. First, if we're just going to average 2017, 18, and 19, we've got that dark blue. That seems reasonable, and that's at about the 2018 level. No big deal. We could use that as our base. Or we can use, let's do our 3-year trend, which is the red. You notice this is a very, it looks pretty linear to me. So just extend that line out. Obviously, you can see it gets to that red dotted line if we had 2020 over here. The 5-year trend, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not quite as steep, so it's a little higher than the red. And then the purple one, the 7-year trend, again, even shallower line you would get for that trend. And that actually leads you to an expected level at about where 2019 is. So these are all choices that can be made when you're trying to do your excess mortality. Here's something that's, you can see this vertical scale running from 35 to 42. I'm just sitting here going like it's obviously not per 100. So yeah, this must be per 1,000. Okay. So this is running from, if it's per 1,000, then this is 4.2. Oh yeah, age 75 to 84. Yeah, the death rates start to get appreciable in this age range. Okay, that makes sense. But we see a generally improving trend. Not a problem. If we just do an average of 2017 to 2019, again, we get something that's at about where 2018 is. Depending on whether we want to do a 3-year, so 3-year gives us the steepest, it's the lowest expected base. The 5-year is a little less steep, and going to be higher, and then the 7-year is a little less steep, even so. So you can pick one trending approach, but depending on which group you're trending, that expected death rate may end up higher or lower than the 2019 and at different magnitudes of difference, I guess. So, I mean, these are some of the issues that go into trying to determine an excess mortality level. As I said, and what I did isn't equivalent to any of these. It's not even equivalent to the 2017 to 2019, though it will be close. It's just because the population doesn't grow a lot, and the age, the population in each age bucket doesn't change a lot in a short period of time. So if I just average it for 3 years, it's not too bad of an expected mortality base. I like doing things that is easy for other people to check, especially non-actuaries. This report is more for the actuaries, but it still has stuff to tell non-actuaries and non-technical people, just the kinds of things that we have to think about when we're thinking through death rate trends. Even if we didn't have COVID around, these are the kinds of things that actuaries have to think about. So see ya.